You know we be with it, we off in the hood like some wizards. Nobody ever gave us anything. Meant something from nothing, just like magicians. Gotta relearn everything. Just to remember that I was forgetting. Just to remember that we had a vision. Did it all, don't know how I did it. Time to go star season to go and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Star season to go and you know those crystal children. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we on the mission. Star season to go and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Star season to go and you know those crystal children. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we on the mission. Off on the mission, you know how it goes. Off in the system, they turn up their nose. They took all the soil, but they didn't know. Through the concrete, you see the ropes. Eyes ain't open, don't mean I ain't woke. Ain't got no cash, don't mean that I'm broke.
Welcome to Ascending Beyond Limitations. You know what that title means? To tap into the unlimited version of you. We have been told so long with so much fervor that we are limited, that we are only body and we are only mind. Not that that's a bad thing, because you were conscious of being only body and only mind, and you were living. You were experiencing, and that was good for Earth consciousness, because the more you experienced, the more you vibrated. The more you vibrated, the more she got enough energy to rev up and shift and move into a new evolution. So if you're sitting there saying, I don't know how to become an aware individual or have an awakening. I don't know if I've had an awakening. You know, the divine says, you're conscious. All you got to do is tap into you. Not be afraid of the unknown within you. Don't worry, it'll happen. Change is always gifted and guaranteed. And when change happens and you step into change, then energy becomes what you want. Intention, you have it. Plus energy, you have it. Equals creation, you got it. The divine will say yes to your intention plus your creation plus your energy equals your creation, and the divine will say yes. The creator can't say no to itself because it's seeking itself in you. You are the experience. Are you ready? Are you ready to dive into the unknown that is you? It's not just out there in the quantum that's around us, it's within you. Are you ready? I know I'm ready. I'm ready to share. I'm ready to dive into more of me. When I help you, I help me. When I see you, I see me. Like I said, when I see Marcus, I see a reflection of me. We're wholeness. We're one. When he sees me, he sees a reflection and an expression of him. Infinite possibilities happening all at once. Are you ready? I'm ready. How about you, Marcus?
Boy, oh boy. Am I feeling it today? And for everybody out there, happy full moon. Full moon in Leo, that is. And for me, my heart and my innards feel very beautiful today, as I am a Leo moon sign in my natal chart. So, for all my Leo moon signs out there, shout out to you. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful full moon in Leo energy, amplifying your moon sign and giving you that wonderful lion and lioness fury of fire and eternal love flowing through you. And for everybody else, I hope you're enjoying these energies as well. And I know some of us may not be familiar with astrology in depth, what the full moon means, or what any of these astrology signs in the moon phase means. So to kick us off, I wanted to share a little bit out of the shamanic Egyptian astrology book that I have. And I'm just going to read out of the sign Leo and what that means in the translation of shamanic Egyptian astrology. So this will then give you a overlook or a basic level awareness of this is the kind of energy in our collective and in the world that we are connecting with, that we are being influenced by, with the alignment of the above. As above, so below. The stars and the planets are the above. Us on the earth is the below. So when we study the above, we can then come into awareness symbolically and through different tangible ways of referencing what type of energies in the cycles of nature we are currently in alignment with and what we are flowing through as a universal collective. And then the more that you become aware of it, the more then you can step into that alchemist role or the self-master role, where you understand that this archetype means this to me. So therefore, I can now consciously use this archetype to interact with my experiences. And that's really what we do when it comes to these interactions with nature, the elements, the stars, the planets. We're just really interacting with archetypes of our one consciousness. So we are going to move into Leo. And Leo in shamanic Egyptian astrology is the shaman king, as they call him, Anubis. Good old Anubis. Okay. So in this book, it is page 103, and it is the sign Leo, and it is Anubis, the shaman king. So I'll briefly just read about Anubis in the sign Leo so that we can come to an understanding of what this Leo energy is while relating it to Anubis. Alrighty. So, the great jackal-headed god, Anubis, holds a unique place in the language of shamanic Egyptian astrology, for he, unlike any other neter, is associated with two archetypal symbols. Anubis is associated with both Chiron and the sign Leo. So, just to fill you guys in, Chiron in astrology, Western astrology that is known as the wounded healer. So anytime that Chiron's in retrograde, or anytime we're having alignments with Chiron, we're going into our deep wounds. We're going into our underworld, so to say. And we're going into our shadows. and we're addressing them, we're experiencing them, we're working our magic to heal and overcome and transmute them. So that's what Chiron is, and that's what they're referencing here. Anubis is known as Chiron, and then he's also known as the sign Leo. So he's the only one that is 2. So as previously discussed, Anubis was the secret son of Osiris and the brother to Horus, the legitimate son of Osiris and Isis. As in so many stories of our patriarchal world, the illegitimate son cannot ascend to the power of the throne. That elevation belongs only to the son, born of the acknowledged king and queen. In the stories as commonly told, Anubis was a figure often feared and misunderstood. It was he who escorted the newly dead into the underworld, he who weighed their hearts upon the scale amongst the feather Amat, he who cast them into the abyss if their hearts were found lacking in purity and innocence. Yet if we probe deeper into the mysteries, we find that it is Anubis who holds the key to our evolution, into who it is that we have come here to be. For Anubis is the wounded shaman. He who abandoned finds his way to a place of great power and trust. As we have seen in Chapter 1, Anubis was never truly abandoned. His wounding was a part of a great design. So to fill you guys in on that a little bit, Anubis in his story, he was abandoned, quote unquote, by his birth mother. But his birth mother wasn't capable of being able to take care of him or help him develop and grow into his divine purpose. So therefore, the physical experience of quote unquote abandonment took place for then Anubis to then get taken in by his then new mother, Isis. So without that quote unquote abandonment happening, Anubis would never been able to reach his full potential and get taken in by Isis as his new mother. So this is a story kind of demonstrating to you that our wounds, our failures, the things that we deem as the most diabolical, bad or negative things happening to us, they actually kind of set us up for us to then be able to ascend into something different or better for us. So it's a journey. So as we continue, as we discussed in the introductory chapter of the signs, the wheel of the zodiac can be understood as a revolving story of the ongoing relationship between the individual and the collective. One cannot be completely an individual and part of the collective, and one cannot be totally part of the collective and still be an individual. The truth of this duality is the basis of human experience and reflects the constant dance of polarity of life on planet Earth. Leo, opposite from the ultimate sign of the collective, Aquarius, is the sign of individual, whole and complete unto him or herself. Leo is a fire sign and one of what are called the fixed signs. Leos can be stubborn, determined, and at their worst, demanding and authoritarian. It is the sign of the lion, and Leos are known for their leadership abilities. It is also an extremely creative sign with a strong desire for acknowledgement and recognition. Leos are the leaders of the zodiac, and their fiery, powerful, sometimes demanding nature lead the way. Leo is the sign of the king, or as he was known in ancient Egypt, the pharaoh. Mythology is full of stories of the disenfranchised prince whose royal origins were hidden and obscured. Brought up in hiding, this young prince often returned to the land of his father to claim his birthright and ascend to his throne. We see this in the story of Zeus and Jupiter, hidden away by his mother from the anger of the father, Kronos and Saturn. So too in the story of Anubis. Then I'll also add in there too that you can actually add the story of Mufasa. Mufasa is the same exact story as this as well. If you guys have watched the newest Mufasa movie, you get to learn about the story and the path of Mufasa, how he was, you know, oh gosh, there's just so much. I don't even want to like ruin it, but you just learn about how, he ended up becoming like a illegitimate child to another tribe, and then made his way up in that tribe, and then became basically like the king of that tribe, but wasn't a family member. So then there's some other things that happen that involve, Scar and some things, and I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to ruin it for anybody that wants to see it. But it's really good. I really suggest it if you're a Lion King fan. As someone that grew up in '95, the original Lion King was always something that I thought could never be matched. But I'll be honest with you guys, this live action Mufasa movie, it gets you. Like, it draws you in. You feel the lions because they look real. The storytelling and the emotions, it's very spiritually symbolic as well. So I suggest it for you guys out there.
Zodiac Love says it's all clicking. I love you guys. It's all clicking. I'm telling you, the divine
beautiful.
is talking. The divine is talking to you in every communicative device that we have. Movies, scripts, TV, music, art. I mean, if you really go back and get rid of that, TV is the boob tube, and start watching the old stories that you used to watch, and then listen for the information. The divine shows it to you. You'll look at it and go, I don't remember that being there. That was there all this time. And it makes so much. And here I go with my potty mouth. It makes so much fucking sense. It really does. Back to you, Marcus. I just had to say that.
Thank you for expressing your potty mouth. Welcome in, everybody that's just popping in on Soulawakeningwithsandra's live. I am, yes, Lion King. That's a good way to pop in, a Lion King discussion. So the reason why I was bringing up Lion King is because currently I'm reading out of the Shamanic Egyptian Astrology book by Linda Starwolf. And I'm reading about the sign Leo right now, because we are currently in a full moon in Leo. So I just wanted to give us a little shamanic Egyptian astrology point of view of what Leo means, the type of energy that we're currently working with as a collective when it comes to this full moon energy. And also, for those of you that love Egypt and shamanism, you get the Egyptian and shamanic point of view of what Leo means. So we were talking about the story of Anubis, because Anubis is also referenced as the Leo King in this book. And in Anubis' story, Anubis ends up becoming abandoned as a child by his birth mother. But it turns out that his birth mother just wasn't fit spiritually and energetically to be able to help raise Anubis into his fullest potential and purpose for why he was born. So it was almost like his birth mother, her purpose in itself was birthing him and allowing him to have a couple of years underneath her, basically, in the divine scope. Of course, this can look terrible from a human perspective, that she ends up basically abandoning him. But spiritually, she ended up abandoning Anubis as a child, so then he could be taken in by his new mother, which ended up becoming the Great Mother Isis. So then Isis and Osiris became the parents of Anubis, but he is basically like a brought-in child, where Horus is the actual birthed child of Osiris and Isis. But that actually has nothing to do with this right now. So Anubis got abandoned from his birth mother, and through that abandonment, that then divinely led Anubis to be able to be raised by a divinely spiritual mother figure, Isis. So then, due to that abandonment, if it wasn't for that abandonment, then Anubis would never have been able to reach his fullest potential. So the story of Anubis is the wounded healer, also known as Chiron in Western astrology. And this journey is an archetype to symbolically reflect back to you that our wounds, our pains, our traumas are not meant to be captive. They're not meant to be failures. They're not meant to be things that keep us from being able to be empowered and to move forward. They are meant to be sort of like the ebbs and flows or different points in our life that alter and shift us into a new point of our life so that we can continue to ascend and move forward on our journey. Sometimes we may think that something in the material world is something for us forever, but in essence, that thing in the material world is just a reference point. It's just a season for us to experience in our soul journey. And that even includes our family members, our friends, our community. We can get so attached with our human hearts and thinking that it's going to be so forever to know somebody or to interact with another person's body forever. But in essence, it all dissipates. It's all meant to, because we continue forward into different forms and different experiences, and it doesn't end here. These different planets, different bodies. So continuing forward, so then we can move into our raw material study. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. So again, I also see here the sentence that I want to read over is, one cannot be completely an individual and part of the collective, and one cannot be totally part of the collective and still be an individual. Interesting. So, the return of Anubis is not spelled out in myth, but rather in the present time within our own lives. Wow, what a great way to pick up. As we have seen in the chapter on Chiron, Anubis represents the wounds that each of us have received in our childhood. All of us in some way have betrayed or been betrayed and abandoned. All of us have suffered. All of us have dived deep into these wounds in order to experience our pain and release it. If we allow ourselves to be stuck in our wounds, we will die in our wounds and never achieve our potential. The challenge Anubis represents to us in his form of Chiron is to recognize that these wounds are the fodder for our lives. They are what is that we need to chew on. These wounds actually nurture us, give us substance as we grow and change. We work at them over the years until finally, very often at the times of Chiron's return to the place it occupied when we were born, at the age of 50, we begin to expand into our birthright. We begin to see that without our wounds, we would not be who we are. They are not a curse, but rather our greatest gift. It is the opinion of the authors of this book that we are currently transitioning into the age of Aquarius. So here we go again, hearing about the age of Aquarius. And this is in a shamanic Egyptian astrology book that was written back in probably I'm not sure, but not like in these last couple of years where the age of Aquarius talk's really been picking up. So just again, more confirmation that we are transitioning into this age of Aquarius. And in one sense, our planetary transition into the age of Aquarius actually began over 2 centuries ago with the discovery of the planet Uranus, ruler of the sign of Aquarius. Paralleling the discovery of Uranus, Wajet, in shamanic Egyptian astrology, were 3 important social and cultural movements. Oh, okay, this is getting interesting now. So, wow. There were 3 important social and cultural movements taking place: the American Revolution, the French Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution. Buckle up. The result of these three revolutions was the gradual dissolution of the idea of a divine right of kings. The idea of democracy, oh boy, buckle up. The idea of democracy in its current form began to hold sway in the collective consciousness. A new idea began to gather strength that it simply wasn't true that certain people had a quote-unquote right to rule over others, that they were descended from the gods. The idea that all people were equal began to move into collective thought. The age of Aquarius was beginning to take form. We're heating up. While these ideas have held philosophical importance, they have not been grounded in practical reality. The last 200 plus years have been full of individuals proclaiming their superior right to rule over others, and great suffering has occurred as a result of dictatorships and the resultings of war over power. Yet the ideal of all being equal has continued to be held forth as an admirable concept, and a true sharing of power has been a desired goal in many areas of our planet. From the perspective of shamanic Egyptian astrology, an essential aspect of the new age of Aquarius is not just that all are equal, but that all are divine. We are the children of gods, human beings having a spiritual experience, and it is time for us to claim our birthright. And his association with the sign Leo, this Leo full moon that we are currently in, embracing these energies, Anubis describes our path. Rather than ascending to the divine, we must bring the divine to Earth. I'm going to read that again to you guys. It's not always about ascension. It's also about anchoring and grounding. Anubis describes our path. Rather than ascending to the divine, we must bring the divine to the earth. Think about that, y'all. It's not always about trying to leave the earth or what's next or what's to come. Sometimes it's about just being, clearing your root chakra, making sure that you're anchored and grounded to the planetary grid so that you're able to continue to be the bridge for your higher self to come into this planet, for heaven on earth. So then, in association with the sign Leo, Anubis describes our path. Rather than ascending to the divine, we must bring the divine to earth. This is not a linear process of actual ascending and descending, but rather is achieved by expanding into both at once. As they say, the deeper the roots, the farther the branches. This is not a linear process of actual ascending and descending, but rather is achieved by expanding into both at once. We must ground ourselves deeply in our humanity, while at the same time reach up to the great star nations. We must take what is given to us by the gods and feed it to the earth. We then take what Gaia blesses us with and offer it to the gods. In this way, we become shapeshifters and create the new consciousness waiting to burst forth from this planet. We create this awareness within ourselves and through our expression. We share it with all with whom we come in contact. When Anubis, the shaman king, emanates through planets, it is time to recognize, acknowledge, and release our wounds so that we may expand to the new octave of consciousness. It is the Dharma of individuals with Anubis, the shaman king, emanating through planets in their chart to continually descend into the darkness of their wounding so that they may shapeshift into their divinity The danger, as always, with the sign Leo, is of becoming caught in the cycle of wounding, descending over and over again into pain and suffering, feeling acknowledged and unrecognized, without an ability to take meaning from the experience. Abusive behavior, anger, and resentment can manifest from this place. The challenge is always to recognize, acknowledge, and release so as to heal and expand into a place of power on the earth. The Neturu watch each and every one of us closely. They have given us the keys to the car, and they wait to see how will we handle our newfound power. Are we ready to embrace our true divinity, our birthright, as the children of the gods? Our inner Anubis stands ready to claim his throne.
To claim
So that's the
his
energy.
to claim his
So that's the
throne.
energy. Yep. So that's the energies that we are being collectively embraced with this full moon in Leo, is what I just described to you. And I just invite you to process and reflect, however naturally for you, how that information came through, and see for yourself where within your inner self do you have a relation to what was just processed for you, and see where you can maybe integrate, and also kind of look at some of the woundings to let go of as we embrace this full moon and continue forward. Wow, what a way to kick that off. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right? We are the divine. We are we are the dreamer having a dream about dreaming about expressing in this reality. Shamanic Egyptian astrology. Things happen to us like there was a comment in the Soul Awakening with Sandra comment that things don't just happen to us, they happen because of us. They happen for us. He didn't get abandoned just willy-nilly. He was with his birth mother for sustenance, for wholeness of the foreign body. And then she released him because she knew that she was called to release him. It didn't make her not sad. She lost her, she gave up her child for a purpose, for a higher purpose, for a higher calling. She knew she came in at that point in that timeline to deliver him in to the part of his life that was going to be his calling. So the things that happen to us, we get a moment to say, as Ra says, ask a deep question, why now? What is this trying to show me? What is this trying to teach me? Where is this trying to lead me to? Who am I to be? Who am I to become? Am I to be the learned or the one that's learning? Or am I to be the one that's teaching? Because there's a vibrational learn, teach, and then there's a vibrational teach, learn. Where am I? If I am the dreamer having a dream about creating, how did I create this? What did I create it for? Where is it going to take me? Who am I going to touch? What part of polarity am I going to embark into? If I am vibration, if I am the vibration, I am that I am. I am that. I am vibration. I am that. I am energy. I am that. I am the divine seeking itself in all of the creation, all of the form and the unformed, the known and the unknown. Who am I in this? Where is it going to take me? So let us begin. The questioner says, which entity incarnate at this time on this planet would be in the category of manufacturing all of their catalysts? Are we ready? Ra says, I am Ra. We find your query indeterminate, but can respond that the number of those which have mastered outer catalysts completely is quite small. Most of those harvestable at this space-time nexus have partially control over the outer illusion and are using the outer catalyst to work upon some bias which is not yet in balance. The questioner says, in the case of service to self polarization, what type of catalyst would entities following this path program when they reach the level of programming their own catalyst? Okay, so the service to self-polarization, according to Ra, is that you have service, you have the choice, your higher being has a choice to choose service to self at all costs, regardless of anybody. You can also choose the polarization of service to all, which is inclusive of the everything, the consciousness of everyone, everywhere, being the mirror of yourself. And you know that that mirror of yourself, you're taking care of others as you're being taken care of. Service to self only means you service yourself no matter who you walk over to do it. Service to self is, I want money and I'm going to take it from someone else. It doesn't matter if I hurt them. I'm just going to, I want that money. And I don't want to work to get it, so I just might as well take it from somebody else. And it doesn't matter if I hurt or maim or kill them. I'm servicing me at all costs. Okay? I know that sounds deep, but service to self means that you do not care how you get whatever you desire, because all that matters is you. Because you're not seeing yourself as part of wholeness, as part of the one true creator. You're seeing yourself outside of that. All right? So, in the case of service to self-polarization, what type of catalyst would entities following this path program when they reach the level of programming their own catalyst? That's a run-on sentence, but I hope you followed it. I am Ra. The negatively oriented entity will program for maximal separation from and control over all those things and conscious entities which is perceived to be other than the self. So Ra just said it to you, just said what the divine said through me, just kind of put it there. Service to self is all that matters. They'll use any catalyst that they have available to them. The questioner says, a positively oriented entity may select a certain narrow path of thinking and activities during an incarnation and program conditions that would create physical pain if there were not followed. Is this correct? Ross says, this is correct. The questioner says, Would a negatively oriented entity do anything like this? Could you give me an example? Ross says, I am Ra. A negatively oriented individual mind, body, spirit complex will ordinarily program for wealth, ease of existence, and the utmost opportunity for power. Thus, many negative entities burst with the physical complex distortion you call health. However, a negatively oriented entity may choose a painful condition in order to improve the distortion towards the so-called negative emotion. Mentations such as anger, hate, frustration. Such an entity may use an entire incarnative experience honing a blunt edge of anger and hate so that it may polarize more towards the negative or separate pole. Okay, the divine wants you to know that your higher beings have free will to choose what polarity they want to play in and stay in if they so choose. And guess what? They get to keep coming back if they like the negative polarity. And guess what? If they lean towards that negative polarity enough and they don't move up the levels to merge back with the divine, normally each higher being gets to merge up from the third density all the way to the sixth density, merge back with unconditional love, and merge back with the divine in seventh density. That's Earth consciousness's choice to shift and evolve using a foreign body. But higher beings get to choose where they want to connect in the polarity stream. And some that choose the negative polarity, they get to the sixth and they turn around and say, I want to experience this again, but I don't want to do a human birth to do it. I'll just go back, I'll take my chances, and I'll become consciousness and be whatever the human wants me to be. So that I can sit in that negative polarity stream. And they'll usually choose people who tap into the negative polarity stream of how they see their life experience. Oh, woe is me. I'm broke. I come from a family who never had anything. I'll always be broke. Well, that's what they're going to attach themselves to. Take what, I know it sounds like, damn, we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. But our higher beings took our foreign bodies, these beautiful Jaguar cars and Mercedes bodies, and said, I'm going to take a journey. And you know what the divine threw in there? The keys are called free will. So at any time, no matter whether our higher beings are moving through the polarity of positive polarity or negative polarity, we get to throw a little free will in there and take our higher beings for a ride, if we so choose. Right? So let's finish. Ross says, however, a negatively oriented entity may choose a painful condition in order to improve the distortion towards the so-called negative emotion mentation, such as anger, hatred, and frustration. Such an entity may use an entire incarnative experience honing a blunt edge of anger and hatred, so that it may polarize more towards the negative and separate pole. So when it gets to the sixth density and it does not want to merge back with the divine right now, it wants to turn around and come back down the densities so it can do it over, because it's homing in on what the negative polarity is like. That's a free will choice for your higher being. And sometimes the higher being might try to incarnate as another human being, but most of the time it doesn't want to do that because it likes control. So what better control than trying to tantalize other souls that are making choices? Guess what? That's their free will. They were given that opportunity. That's their free will to turn around at sixth density and go back. Back to you, Marcus. Whoa. Who knew the divine was going to go there?
Well. No. I'd like to take a moment for all of us that are present in this energy field, and I'd like to invite you to take a moment with me to bring some focus inward. And with this focus inward, we're just gonna allow ourselves to surrender for a moment. And with this surrendering, we're going to allow any attachments, any cords, any energies that could be hindering or causing resistance in our wholeness and our balance to be shed and let go of in this space and in this moment. At your own free will, if you wish to receive, allow yourself to get comfortable and open yourself up to receiving these healing energies of Anubis, the Leo King. And as we move into the space, I invite you to think of anything that you could mentally be struggling with. This could be a memory, attachment, negative thought forms, programming, belief system. And then I invite you to feel into if there is anything emotionally, if you have any emotional wounds, any pains, any emotional attachments, past relationships, people, places, that's just authentically lingering, continuing patterns of life. It's a good time to bring it forward with your mind and focus on it during this brief meditation. Then lastly, the physical body. If there is any physical ailments, any dis-ease throughout our being that we would like to bring focus to, you may think of that now and bring it forward as well. And I invite you to now either sit, lay, stand where you are. Just allow yourself to flow authentically and get yourself relaxed. Relax your shoulders, your body. Have your back straight if you can. And just begin to focus on breathing. Deeply breathing in the nose and drawing it down through the body. And then exhaling out of your mouth. Just continuing to focus on that breath. Continuing to breathe, letting go and surrendering to any energy that is flowing, not holding on to any thoughts, emotions, just allowing them to process and pass. Unaya shiata, unaya sa ishimiyana puka, imiyana usu, iniyana sutia, iamaya kuta, miyaya usuta, imiyana tia, inikuto ataya nakia, usunataya ta, inikia tuota, niyashunukuta. Stay with that breath, consciously with yourself, as you feel authentically. Just allow yourself to feel the love, the protection, the nurturing of this Anubis energy as it wraps you. These magical energies of the full moon in Leo, giving you strength and courage and empowerment, turning your pains into wisdom and leadership as you are going to lead many others through your traumas and pains and the things that we thought were setbacks are going to end up propelling us forward, helping others as well, being a bridge, trailblazer. Thank you for being you. You may return to your physical body when you are ready. Back to you.
Mahua se no totai. Akuishi to na he so no toku. Eda nema ku aje se so ku. Shezuku na i se sulu na he. Mahua de ki e no ku otai se ki ku amaka aje se no totai. Aquí no se solo maka kia tena. Ale moko asia moko unai ete atoda ke ote tashi. Within your wholeness is the whole you. Within the wholeness is the whole you. Alikim to na de sala. Dive into your wholeness. Dive into you. Oluku na kia na he no la ku unlimited. Like a dolphin, rise to the top fast and burst into the air, and then allow yourself back down into the water without even a splash. There's infinite choices, infinite everywhere. We're bumping up we're bumping up against the quantum of everything that is and that is not. Your ancestors are holding hands with you. Your spirit guides are whooshing all around you. Ask them a question. Seek their knowledge. They walked it. They experienced it. so that you could ask them. They're not just there cheering you on. They're actively part of your story. They can do nothing until you give them permission, because they understand how free will works. Just as this questioner is asking Ra understands that when they answer, they cannot usurp the authority of you and your free will. Did you hear that? Your free will has authority. They can't do anything unless you give it permission. So the divine, through Ra, will answer a question as best it can without usurping or going against humanity's free will. Are you ready for more? The question says, or the questioner says, prior to incarnation, as an entity becomes more aware of the process of evolution and has selected a path, whether it be positive or negative, and we're going to take a comma there, otherwise it's going to be a run-on sentence. At some point, the entity becomes aware of what it wants to do with respect to unblocking and balancing its energy centers. Take the period. At that point, it is able to program the life experience, those catalytic experiences that will aid it. Oh, wow. Okay. We're going to take it slow. Okay. I think there's extra added words there. It's for purpose. I know not what the purpose is, but let's be patient. The questioner says, at that point, it is able to program for the life experience, those catalytic experiences that will aid it in, and it's talking about the entity, in its process of unblocking and balancing. Is that correct? I am Ra. That is correct. The questioner asks, the purpose, comma, then, comma, let's take those commas are pauses, so let's take the pauses. The purpose, then, of what we call the incarnate physical state seems to be wholly, WHOLLY, and almost wholly that of experiencing the program catalyst and then evolving as a function of that catalyst. Is that correct? Ready? I am Ra. We shall restate for clarity the purpose of incarnative existence is evolution of mind. If you got a pencil, write it down. We're going to repeat for clarity in the last 2 books that we've done. We're going to repeat it to you. The purpose of incarnative existence is evolution of mind, body, and spirit. In order to do this, it is not strictly necessary to have a catalyst. However, without catalyst, the desire to evolve and the faith in the process do not normally manifest, and thus evolution does not occur. Therefore, catalyst is programmed, and the program is designed for the mind, body, spirit complex for its unique requirements. Thus, it is desirable that a mind, body, spirit complex be aware of and hearken to the voice of the experimental catalyst, gleaming from it that which it incarnates to glean. So you hear people saying this is a matrix and it's all pre-programmed. Yeah, it was pre-programmed with a catalyst. But guess what? You got the key to change it. Any given time. You can be afraid of the pre-programming and stay in fear of it and actually try to break free out of it. But if you don't glean it so that you can learn from it, body, mind, and soul, so that you can create from it, body, mind, and soul, it means nothing. Back to you, Marcus. Whoa. Whoa. That just answered one of my questions, because I woke up with a vibrational question about the matrix. And I asked the divine, am I explaining that to the people that come on to learn from me? Am I explaining the matrix? You know, matrix is just consciousness of you. But this helps me to understand that there is a caveat of catalysts that were pre-programmed into this duality in the polarities, so that we could take them in and learn from them. We are so happy and grateful that we've got cars that have GPSs. We don't pull out that map anymore. When I grew up, there was a great big map, and there was a book full of maps, and you had to connect the pages of the books to figure out where you were going. Now we've got a GPS that does that. But it's a GPS already pre-programmed with information in it. Come on. Come on. You have people who go on nature walks have a compass. It gives you true north. That's what they tell you, the people who made the compass. They put these little bits and pieces that give you magnets towards true north. But you go on faith that they did that. That is true north. But guess what? You got the keys to the kingdom of the divine that gives you the opportunity to change whatever you believe your true north is. Back to you, Marcus.
I love that. That complements the Leo Shaman King energy so much. And so beautiful. You know, guys, we're really being shown that it's time to carve our way. It's time to really decide for yourself what it is that you really want in life. I mean, look at all the dismantling happening. Look at all of the confusion. Look at all of the uncertainties and all of these things going on out there in the ethers of the whirlwinds of the world, as we say. But yet here we are in this now moment, sitting here on these devices in a place of solitude and peace, exchanging information, sitting in love, and not being in any of that energy. So it really goes to show you that we have choices here. And those choices that you continue to fuel and feed, you're going to get more of those kind of experiences and things that come with that. But if you're just choosing to kind of weave in and out, just pop in, pop out. Like, so this is my observation of this dimension and what's going on. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pull back out. All right, let's see what's going on in this dimension. Okay. Still some hate over there. Still some people wanting to divide over there. Okay. That's their dimension. Okay. And then you continue to reflect and just see what else is going on. And the thing is you can observe or you can absorb. And that's the thing. That's part of this free will accountability, is that we can observe or we can absorb. And that's only up to you if you observe and you absorb. Now, it ain't anybody else's fault now that you absorbed a little bit of what's going on in politics or what's going on in the world news. That's your boundary to create. It ain't the government's fault. It ain't the media's fault. It ain't any of their fault. You became aware of what they are and what's going on. So now you've been given the keys by becoming aware to now do something about it with your power for your own vessel and your own being that you're accountable for. So it's like, yeah, that stuff could be going on. These things could be happening. But if you're not right there in the thick of it, as in like not literally sitting there in the White House, if you're not sitting there on those media teams, if you're not sitting there dealing with that stuff, you have a choice to continue to focus on your present space and just continue to build with the things that you want to keep most precious to you. And that's how it's been for me. It's just popping in and out. Just Spirit wants to show me this to observe. Okay, this is what's going on the planet. All right. Now, I'm going to continue to keep myself in balance no matter what. I'm going to continue to stay in my routines no matter what. And I'm going to continue to make sure that my energy centers are clear and I'm grounded and that I'm connected to my higher spirit. And that's going to be happening daily no matter what. Even if this person is elected, even if that person's elected, if this doesn't reform or this does reform, as long as you continue to stay true to yourself and your awareness of who you are in relation to your present moment, that's all you need. That's all that you need. Because you will be shown what you need to be shown. You will say what you need to say. You will receive what you need to receive. And it will continue. And it continues way beyond this body as well. So even the things that seem so dramatic and just so end of the world, you're gonna one day just look back in your astral body and you're gonna be like, wow.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow, I took it that serious.
You
I thought the world was ended.
Yeah, it's like, wow, that was a great expression. That was a great incarnation. Wow, right? I mean,
exactly.
When I was coming up, guys, and I grew up in the 60s. I was a teeny bopper, not even a teeny bopper. I was, from grade kindergarten through 10th grade in the 60s, and then high school in the 70s, right? So, okay, you do the math. I'm not going to do the calculation for you, but right now at this point, as far as the political stream of what's going on, I've been through everything. And I'm still here. I'm still thriving, not just surviving. When my eyes were open enough to see, Sandra, you're not just surviving. You've been thriving all through that. So yeah, I went through that time where I'm just not going to watch the news. Well, in order for me to be in a space of holding space for a change, I have to know what's going on. I don't have to imbue myself in it, but I do it, especially if I'm saying that I'm here to serve others. I'm here to serve the wholeness of others. I have to know what's going on. I don't have to dive nose first into the negativeness of it. I just have to know, oh, that's going on. Okay, so that's the problem. Let me vibrationally go to the answer. For me, that's on a different part of the playground. That means if I have to turn around, turn my back on that part of the playground and vibrationally move to where I think the answer is going to be, or where the divine is showing me the answer is going to be, so I can sit in that and vibratorily raise the vibration of an answer, I'm going to do that. Because for me, I only have two choices: to be afraid or to be a victor. And be a victor in the vibration of wholeness and the answer. I might not be the person that delivers the answer, but I'm holding space for that entity that's going to come in at that moment, that higher being that says, okay, now it's me. Now I have enough energy. I'm coming in as the answer to this problem. That's all Ra is saying. Ra says, the catalyst is programmed, and the program is designed for the mind-body-spirit complex for its unique requirements. We all have unique requirements, and the catalyst is set. Our higher beings set on the vibration school, the vibration school, before it came into the physical earth playground. And it sat there and said, my higher being said with Marcus's higher being, one day you're going to be on this program called IG, and you're going to be collaborating with me about the raw material, about this vibration. And Marcus's higher being said, yep, okay, I'll be ready. Now it took his great-grandparents, or great-great-grandparents, great-grandparents, grandparents, and then his parents to make it viable for him to be in this vibration. Same as me. Now here we are. Our higher beings are here to play. Our body and our mind make it work, but our higher beings just came to play. They came to dabble in the polarities. They created our bodies however they were created. If they created a body that only had one arm, eventually that body and that mind will have a moment where it can sit at the seat of its soul and say, why did you create me with only one arm? And if they sit and listen to their higher being will say, because I wanted to feel what it was like for you to grow and expand and become more than just a being that was a victim. And then your higher being will say, thank you for that journey. It's hard to see that in form body, because our form body and our mind and our ego looks at things from the outside in. What Ra is saying is go inward, look inward, and then look out at it and ask an embodying question. What do I want to do with this? What is this trying to show me? Why is this person screaming at me so viciously? It's not just trying to trigger me, it's trying to show me something. How do I need to look at it so I can turn on my GPS and follow it where it wants to take me? That's all a trigger is. It's a vibrational moment and a vibrational catalyst that's going to take us to the next part of the journey. Yes, sometimes those catalysts hurt. Sometimes we don't want to dive into it. But if we don't dive into it and we cover it up and we push it down, then that becomes triggers that we're always having to deal with, and they always hurt. They never let up, because that's life coming back around to you saying, "What do you want to do now, Sandra?" And Sandra says, "Nothing. I want to push it down. I want to hurt a little bit more." And life says, "Okay, I'll be back." That's all Ra is saying. It's a catalyst. Them finding the lump or the mass in my right breast or left breast, whatever one you want to call it. Right breast, I think is the story. That's the catalyst that says something is about to change the way you view things. Change is occurring, Sandee. What do you want to do? Well, my ego said, "Sandee, I want to protect you." And my higher being, because I was open to it, said, "No, we got to let her feel it." And my ego said, "No, but I'm here to protect her." And my higher being said, "No, little one, she's got to feel it. Let her feel it." So I allowed my ego to say, "What now? Why now?" Not why me. Already been there, done that. But why now? She asked the question. I tapped into my GPS, and the question took me to the answer. That's all Ra is saying. The catalysts are going to happen. They're there for a reason. Yes, they're pre-programmed, but we got the key, the vibrational key, to change the programming if we so desire. We, our higher beings, chose to come into third density and created our bodies and our minds to take the journey with us. You know what? They didn't, when somebody says, "Well, I didn't give my permission." Well, no, you didn't need to give your permission to the divine. You were created for the divineness of you to travel in it. But guess what? You were given free will. How much better than it saying yes or no to this whole experience in physical form? You got the keys to the city. Not just one fucking key. Not just those giant keys that they give the mayor or that they give the honorary person that comes into the city the key. Not just the key that they give Drake to say, "Oh, you're an honorary this." You got the whole damn key ring to change your GPS direction. That's what Ra is saying. Maybe Ra didn't say it in the potty mouth Sandee version, but that's what Ra is saying. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Growth and expansion is going to happen anyway. No matter what happens, that's the course of Earth consciousness in her expression of having a physical form body and shifting and evolving up the dimensional ladders. She's going to do it with or without you. But guess what? You're vibrating energy regardless of you fighting, resisting, or participating. Life is still going to happen. Take what resonates. Back to you, Marcus. Woo. Woo.
Man. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm-mm.
What an episode this is. Shoo-wee.
47.
Definitely feeling that Leo fire. Jeez. Straightforward truth and just owning it. I love that energy. This is the time that we're in right now. Such a rare and potent time on this planet. And man, there's nothing more than this. There's nothing less than this. This is what we came here for, guys. Like, we came here for this revolution on the planet. I mean, you heard it earlier in the reading, shamanic Egyptian astrology reading about the age of Aquarius that we have been really beginning to flow with. And wow. You just look all around at the world right now. You look all around at just life as a whole. And you think about all the exposing of darkness being brought into light. All of the calls of integrity, transparency, of standing in truth. And we're seeing it on all levels right now. Even beyond, the personal feelings and the personal beliefs about any figures that are involved on this planet, you can see that this is happening as well. And it's a lot of opportunities right now. During these type of energies, if you're caught up on them, if you're attached to them, it can just be chaos and it could be confusion. But if you're staying in yourself and you really are being that time traveler, experiencing through the lens, remembering that you're not powerless or a victim during this period, there's a lot of golden opportunities. Because you can see that the thought forms and the illusions that we thought were powers above us are clearly being shown that they're not powers above us right now. And it was more so of us being asleep and not putting our hands on the wheel rather than them having power over us. And now that we're starting to kind of put our hands on the wheel a little bit more on all levels of the planet and all levels of structure, we're going to be given some opportunities, and we're going to continue to have some opportunities within ourselves to continue to step forward in our individual authentic power. So I invite you guys to focus a little bit on that at your own free will, instead of focusing on the polarities, the sides, the political landscape. Try to see through all that. Try to see the energy of what's happening and just see that there is change clearly happening. There's reforming clearly happening. There's exposing of darkness being brought to light clearly happening. beyond opinions and beyond beliefs. It's just happening. So with that, that's happening within us as well. So continue to sit with those triggers, sit with those wounds, sit with those divided beliefs that you may have within you still. And try not to shame yourself or kind of blame or anything like that. Just sit with it and try to see it from a perspective of, it's not me. These are not who I am. They don't define me. These are feelings and beliefs that were formed through me. And then kind of see, like, is it something you truly want to carry moving forward? Do you want to continue to believe all this hate or negativity about somebody? Or do you maybe want to try to give a little bit of sliver of divine hope that there is divinity within whatever this individual is, that there's a divine purpose to this being? With that, you reclaim a little bit more of your power every time you do that, because you're no longer seeing something outside of you or somebody outside of you as a threat or a power structure or something separate from you that has some type of demand or capability of completely taking over your life. When you dissolve all that, you can bring yourself back to a little bit more of that clarity, a little bit more of that centeredness and that empoweredness of, just like earlier, that's going on in that dimension, that's going on in that dimension, but I'm here, right here in this body, in this dimension. And I have things all around me that I can interact with. I have capabilities, I have gifts, I have money, I have all these things. I'm abundant. I can continue to make choices with my free will and continue to live life.
Exactly. I'm going to say it again. Exactly. And Zodiac Love 12 says the catalyst part, she's still trying to fully understand. Think of them saying, this is the matrix. They're yelling at you. This is the matrix. It's pre-programmed. Pre-programming is the catalyst. And they're going to give you a suggestion of what you should do. Run from it. Or a suggestion, tear it down, right? And in that suggestion, Zodiac, may be giving it to you through fear. Well, the catalyst is maybe there for you to open up your GPS and say, where is this going to take me? If I take it in as fear, where is that going to take me? It's a catalyst. It's opening up a path that you're going to go on. You're about to put some information into your GPS to say, where do I go from here now that this is opened up to me? Yes, we came with pre-programming. Our higher beings came to learn something. They probably came to say, hey, I know what unconditional love is from the vibrational place that I am coming from into this third density. I want to know the opposite. Well, in this duality, what is the opposite of unconditional love? Hate, dislike, right? I come from unconditional light. What do I want to search for now? What is the catalyst going to lead me to? Oh, it's going to lead me to a part of darkness so I can move through the darkness and come back to the light. A catalyst is something that ignites something else. I.e., you have a stick of dynamite, you light a match. The match is the catalyst that you add to the dynamite, and then what happens? Does that help? If you're still in Soul Awakening with Sandra's comments, let me know. We all came with catalyst. Our higher being. Now, some of us, we are conscious. We are always conscious. All beings are conscious. We're conscious of living life. We are conscious that we have a body and that we have a mind and that we are living life. What happens through the consciousness is once you become aware that there is more to just the body and just the mind. Now that's what waking up is called. Because you start to notice the catalysts and move and be able to move through them, to choose your catalyst that's going to change your outlook on what your ego is taking in, bringing into you, and you get to acknowledge what those catalysts are and go, I don't want that one. And then your free will says, okay, change that. And then you get to, because change is always going to happen. It's always promises. I believe it's the one thing that the divine promise would never, ever change is change. So the catalyst can always be changed. Guess what? By you. I hope that helps. I hope that helps. The card that I pulled while Marcus was speaking, because speaking his light language, this card it's from my intuition deck, right? It's called, I hope you can see it. Let's see, can you see it better? It's kind of backwards, but it says balance, intuition, and practicality. I'm just going to read the card, not the book. Intuition and practicality are partners. Your practical side, as well as your past experience, deserve your attention and respect. By balancing your sixth sense guidance with your practicality now, you create a grounded and ideal path forward. How can your intuitive insights be implemented in practical ways? Your insights are vibrational activations into your life experiences. They're catalysts. Your intuitive sixth sense is a catalyst. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I hope that helps. Back to you, Marcus.
Yep.
Yep.
It's like, this will be my final share for the episode today. You know, just to kind of wrap this all up from the beginning and with the end of this session. You know, in the beginning, we read from the Shamanic Egyptian Astrology book. For those of you that weren't tapping in at that moment, you guys can always watch the replay, of course, on Instagram or YouTube. And I was reading out of the book, and I was reading about the sign Leo. And the sign Leo is connected to Anubis, the shamanic king. Welcome in, Caramel 14. Welcome to the space. And you know, connecting Anubis's walk and his journey with what we were just speaking on about catalyst. the one of the biggest catalysts in the archetype story.
You might want to say that. You might want to say that again because you had a glitch.
Is about you. There we go. So what's catalyst in that story? Okay, there we go. One of the biggest catalysts in the story of Anubis is that he is, quote unquote, abandoned. So Anubis being abandoned by his birth mother is a catalyst. It is a catalyst that sets up Anubis to then be able to be on an ascension path, because he is now going to be under the guidance and the motherhood of Isis instead of his birth mother. So again, I'll go through that again because I know that the internet was a little choppy. So when we're talking about catalysts, one of the biggest examples is going back to the beginning of this episode when we were reading about Anubis. And in Anubis's journey and his archetype, they talk about how he is, quote unquote, abandoned by his birth mother. His birth mother wasn't fit to be able to raise Anubis into his fullest potential. So spiritually, from a higher standpoint, he was, quote unquote, abandoned by his birth mother. This abandonment is a big major catalyst that then set up and brought Anubis into a position to then be taken in by the mother Isis. But due to that catalyst of being abandoned by his birth mother, he would not have been able to have the mentorship and the motherhood of the great Isis as his new mother. If this would not have been, we would not have seen the fullest potential of what Anubis could have been in that incarnation due to the mother structure. So that's why catalysts are key, in that we're not getting so caught up on the past and getting so caught up on the things that seem detrimental in the past, because those things could be major catalysts in order for us to push forward or to be able to become deeply aware or have a newfound perspective of ourselves so that we can continue forward on our purpose. So when you really step into that realm of thinking and mindset and embodiment, then you become untouchable, because you're no longer being afraid of any catalyst that comes into your life, whether it's the highest of the positive or the lowest of the negative. You're just seeing it as another catalyst to move you through energy into your next moments of energy, and then into your next moments of energy, into the next, and then into the next. And it's just continuous, infinite, eternal. It just continues on. And then we continue to alchemize and shapeshift and take these experiences and rewrite the stories and write the stories and pass it on as wisdom and just continue on. When we can simplify that into our mental process, into our subconscious programming, and we embody that more and allow that to become our programming of how we normally see life and how we're embodying our life, I'm telling you guys, you start really accessing that God power within you. When I say that God power, I mean the power of realizing and embodying the I am connected to all, and that you're not bound to an experience. You're not bound to one impactful moment. You're not bound to a trauma. It's just one catalyst of your many stories. And then you can alchemize and use that trauma as a power. What an episode.
What an episode. And as I close, I'm going to leave you with a small paragraph of the Divine Design. Divine Design was a book that was channeled to Lori Ladd. She did not set out that day. She was visiting, she was on a bus to Machu Picchu. She was caught up into a daydream with the divine, who said, you're going to channel a book. And here are the channelers. Introduced her to the divine design of energy that was going to channel. And here's what they said to her that she wrote at the end of the book. She wrote several paragraphs, but this one stood out to me. It says, you are all currently experiencing and watching the trauma, which is what Marcus just said. The trauma and or density from the human collective be pulled out of darkness and into the light. And the divine wants me to say, if there was no darkness, there could be no light. Let it be so. They went on to say, just like your own trauma, the human collective trauma must be seen. It must be felt and shifted into higher frequencies. This answer has to happen because the call was made. And the divine has come. That's us. We can do it whether we're aware of it or not. Why? Because we're all conscious beings having a story. It also says the way you move through this is by seeing the trauma, feeling the trauma, and then choosing who you want to be right now and how you want to work that trauma. Do you want to surrender it? Do you want to still play in it? Do you want to take the keys and lock it and speak to it and say, I give you permission to go now, and I give you permission to go within the wholeness and balance of the one true creator and all the unconditional love? Now, guess what? The divine says you can believe it or not. I'll still be with you. I'll still say yes to you, whatever you want your story to be. The one true creator, as Ross says, is us, experiencing ourselves in all of the polarity. Good, bad, happy, sad, evil, not, light, darkness, upper, lower, polarity, and balanced. We get to decide where we want to play and pull the keys out of our pockets and say, okay, I'm taking my key and I'm going over here. Why? Because I don't like what's happening on this part of the playground. See ya. And the divine will say, yes, let it be so. Thank you for joining us for chapter 47. Can you believe it? Chapter 47, book 3. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Allow your cup to be full or filling. Allow it to overflow or not. Dump it all out and go take your cup and fill it with what resonates for your highest and greatest good. I love you all. Thank you so much for inviting me to co-host with you, Marcus. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Of course, it's an honor. It's all equal. And I'm thankful for the one true source and all that we are. Thank you to all of you for tapping in on this very wonderful, jam-packed episode of beautiful golden nuggets. Enjoy the knowledge about the full moon in Leo, Anubis, the Shaman King, turning our wounds into power, stepping forward in our fury and truth, continuing to claim our accountability and our sovereign power. Guys, continue to leave your feedback, your comments. Thank you to all of you for participating. And we will see you guys soon. Next Wednesday, episode 48, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And you guys can catch me tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, as I continue with the Emerald Tablet study and the nightcap, as we will be on tablet number 2 of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Wholeness and balanced love.
Wholeness and balanced love.
Ye who accompany the bearer to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of Ra, ever advancing onwards the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine, which standeth in the center of the earth. Behold, he is me, and I am him. Mine is the radiance wherein Ta floateth over the firmament. I travel upon high, I tread upon the firmament of Nu. I raise a flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on the splendor of the
My third eye's open, I can see past the commotion. I can't get lost in a moment. Yeah. I live on the side with the chosen. Higher dimensions we going. Yeah. My third eye open, I can see past the commotion. Yeah. I live on the side with the chosen. Higher dimensions we going. Yeah. I'm guaranteed to check like TSA. 1 in a million.